As it stands, if we want to add a new provider, we will need to repeat pretty much this. Then this will be /login / the provider, let's say Google. Then we will have to rename the methods accordingly also. So this can be, say, GitHub redirect, then GitHub callback. Then this can be Google redirect and Google callback. Then in the controller, we will create these methods targeting each provider. You will begin to see how messy this will look like if we end up with, say, 5 providers. That means we need to repeat this for the 5 providers. But as good developers that we are not going to go down that path. So in this lesson, we are going to refactor the implementation we have to easily allow any provider without too much boilerplate code. So let me revert this to what it was before. The refactor we are going to do will still make use of just 2 routes, but instead of hardcoding the provider in the URI, we are going to allow it to be passed to the URL by making the provider a wildcard. So instead of login /GitHub, we are going to say login / provider, where provider will be replaced by any of the provider's ally support or any of your custom providers. We will also need to update the controller as well. Again, instead of hardcoding the provider here, we are going to get it from params. So let's pull in params and we can do params.provider, where provider is any of the providers ally supports or any of your custom providers. We will do the same thing inside the callback method. So again, let's pull in params and make use of it here. Params.provider. Now that this can be any of the supported providers, let's rename this to be provider. Here we'll get the provider from the params.provider. Let's head over to the browser and test to make sure everything is still working. And sure enough, it is still working as before. Now, if we want to add a new provider, all we need to do is follow the pattern we've laid out in the route file. That is login / the provider. Let's add a new link to the login page. I'm going to duplicate this. And this will be Google. Then the URL is going to be login / Google. Let's make them stay next to each other. I'm going to add a class of flex to the div wrapping them, and items center to make them vertically centered, then space x4, which will add an even space between them. Let's see how it looks in the browser. Let me log out. Yeah, it's looking good to me. Still in the spirit of refactoring, let's move the links to a partial. That way we can easily reuse it on the register page and only have one place to update in case we want to add new providers later on. So inside the auth directory, I'm going to create a new directory that I will call partials. And inside the directory, I'm going to create a new file that I will call coauth.edge. Then I can move this inside it. Then inside here, I can now include the partial as include. The partial is inside auth /partials/coauth. If we head back to the browser and refresh, we shouldn't see any difference. So now let's add it to the register page as well. I'm going to copy this, then head over to the register page under the form. I'm going to paste it here. And now we have the links on the register page as well. In the next lesson, we are going to look at how to log in with Google and resolve the potential issues I mentioned in the last lesson.